Hey friends, welcome back to Creating Success in the Mess. We're your hosts, Corey and Whitney.
In this show, we help creative entrepreneurs find success in business by living into their highest potential and calling in life.
Hello, creative friends. Today, we have an awesome topic. Super excited about this one. We're going to discuss how to overcome your fear to sell, because this is definitely something that people struggle with. We struggle with it from time to time, and it's something we have to overcome. If we want to make money with our craft, with our skill, with our art, you have to come to a place that, you know what, it's not about the money. It's about the finished product. We just need to list it. So the whole goal of today's podcast, and the whole reason why you should be listening to this, is because you want to just focus on getting it listed and not worry about the money. Money comes second.
Now, sometimes I feel like we hear a lot, oh, no, I'm just doing this for fun. I don't want to sell. And if that's you, then I encourage you to go ahead and listen anyway, because sometimes we can say that as, a protection barrier just in case, we don't think it would sell or for whatever reason. So
right.
Even if you're sitting around saying, oh, no, like, I just do this for fun, I'm not interested in selling anything, right. You never know. Like, down the road, you might decide maybe you are.
I'm really happy you bring that up, because I can think back when I was in my early 20s and we were beginning to flip furniture. The first couple pieces that we flipped was because, furniture is expensive, and so if we just redo a used piece, we'll save money, and that would be fun. And then it was like, okay, well, now I'm just doing the pieces because I like painting them and redoing them, and as long as I get back what I put into it, then that's fun. It's not costing me any money. I'm just having fun.
Right.
And now, all these years later, and over 6 figures in a furniture refinishing company, it's like, whoa, that mindset we had at the early time was such a limiting factor.
Right.
Right?
It was to a degree, but there is a place where, in the beginning, you are just starting. I know, I teach a lot of canvas artists, and a lot, when they first come in, they are really kind of doing it as a hobby. They really are just kind of learning, mm-hmm. But with life, there's growth.
Right.
And so with every painting that they do, every time they come in and they're learning and they're painting, they're growing. Right. And it's inevitable that at some point they say, oh, my sister's cousin's brother loved that painting that I did, and they wanted to buy it.
Right.
Or, somebody wants me to paint, blah, blah, blah. That's life. That's growth. But one thing that we keep seeing reoccurring, whether it's, in our furniture refinishing business, talking to other refinishers, or in people that are paint artists that are learning how to paint on canvas or have been painting on canvas, is this reoccurring theme. So earlier we were having a consultation, like we were mentoring a canvas painter, and we'll
name her Janice.
Okay, yeah, let's call her Janice.
Janice.
So Janice has completed quite a bit of painting. I mean, she's done quite a bit of canvas work, and she works in oils, and she's worked in acrylics, and I mean, she has some experience under her belt, and she paints like really great, realistic portraits. They're really good. And I asked her, why are all of these canvases just sitting around? Like, why not sell them?
She had hallways full of paintings.
I mean, closets, hallways. I mean, that's one thing that we hear all the time is I have so many of these things. I'm not sure I can paint anymore. And it drives me crazy because I'm like, no, sell it. Sell it. Take a picture of it. Make a portfolio. Sell the original. And then you got more space. So back to Janice. She has these amazing portrait paintings, and they're just sitting around, and she was talking about needing some extra money, and I was like, well, why don't you sell some of your paintings? And she stopped and she was like, well, I don't know. Like, I'm not sure if they're good enough. I think I just kind of suffer from imposter syndrome. And this is a reoccurring thing that I see and that I hear over and over and over. This is not unique to Janice. Like, this is something that, like, keeps coming up. And when she said, oh, I think I have imposter syndrome, I was like, there's no way that you have imposter syndrome because you deemed it good enough. You deemed it good enough and done to the point where you clear-coated them, you varnished them, you protected them, and then you hung it on the wall for display. At that point, you were done with it, and you were, it met your standards. It was good enough to varnish and hang on a wall. It didn't go back into a closet. It didn't hide around. It was actually on display. So it really isn't imposter syndrome, because imposter syndrome is when we feel like, oh, I'm a fraud. Oh, we doubt ourselves and our talents and our skills.
Not professional enough.
Right. Yeah. Not good enough. Not enough experience. Not enough years. Not enough.
Right. Which, how do professionals become professional?
By experience.
By experience.
Right.
So you have to sell some. So before Michael Jordan was the best basketball player ever, in my opinion, he missed shots. He didn't get rebounds. Like, he didn't do parts of the game well.
Right.
And it was in the experience of putting himself out there. It did. And I think art and creativity are the exact same way.
Yeah.
Like, at some point, you have to go from, obviously you develop your ability, but then, okay, well, now sell at your ability.
Right. Yeah. Especially, so anyway, I was like, I'm not really sure this is imposter syndrome. It doesn't sound to me like you doubt you. What sounds like to me is that there's a wall that it stops from forward progress when it's time to put it out into the market, out into the world. And so, to me, I find that to not be imposter syndrome. I find that to align a little bit more with, like, fear of rejection.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end of the conversation, that was 100% what it was. It wasn't that she didn't like it. It wasn't that she didn't think she did a good job. It wasn't that she didn't think she was capable. She wasn't actually putting it out into the marketplace and showing it off, because she was already calculating in her mind what would happen if somebody critiqued it, if somebody didn't like it, if somebody didn't buy it, if somebody, all of the stories that you tell yourself. And so at that point, when we realized it wasn't actually imposter syndrome, it was fear of rejection, it made it so much easier for her to then muster up courage,
right,
and go through fear.
Right. Because it can be, we all suffer from it from time to time, but in whatever it is that you do that you're trying to work on, because the idea of rejection is that you take your power from your gift and you then put that onto other people. Yeah,
absolutely. Especially for us creatives, because when we're painting something or we're creating something, we are kind of like pouring a part of us into whatever it is. And so we kind of leave part of us on that canvas or that furniture or, whatever that created, that in that book, whatever it is, we're leaving a part of us there.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right, it's so easy for us to be like, my worth is over here,
right.
My part of me is there.
Well, and the thing you have to come to is, always go back to truth. Look at highly successful professional people. Go to their social media, click on a post, and go down the comments. You will see people saying not nice things about them. And it doesn't make them any less of an artist.
No.
It doesn't make them any less of a professional. People are going to have different opinions. And that's the thing. Opinions are over here. Everyone's got one. So leave it there. Do your craft.
Right. And if you do look in the comments, there's probably way more support than there is,
Right.
Negative.
Right. But we naturally, as human beings, the way our brains work, we naturally want to gravitate to those negative things.
That's because we're already on guard when we are going to put our thing into the marketplace. Whenever we're going to present our canvas that has a piece of us on there to the marketplace, we're already on guard for that rejection, for that attack, for that insult. And so if we have like the slightest little, oh my gosh, it could be, we take it and we run with it rather than just thinking, like my worth is not really in their opinion. My worth is in me and in what I did, and I believe I did good. And also, look at all these other comments that are like, wow, that's great.
I think some people also suffer from a different type of fear of rejection. To a degree, they almost are afraid to post it or to list it because what if it is good? What if people do want it? Right. What if they buy one and people want more of it?
Right.
Now I have to find the creative element to reproduce and to re-give and recreate.
Right.
Right? And I think some people can kind of get the fear of like, well, no one in my family has ever been above, X amount of money in their life, or they've never been able to, do this. So why would I, why should I be able to, I feel like this is good. If I list it and someone buys it, then that's just confirmation that it is.
Right.
And then I have to deal with that success and how that feels inside of me. And the idea is that you begin to change when you find those successes, because it will happen. If you list it, it will sell. We yet to have a canvas or a piece of furniture that we've done that we still have.
Right.
They're all gone.
They're all gone.
They always go. And the thing is like, don't get caught up in like having to do it, because when you have to do it, you don't create from a place that is correct. You want to create things because of the joy that it brings and that you're using your passion and providing purpose. And when you do it for those reasons and you ignore the dollar bills that come with it, you can stay in creative element out of rejection and out of fear.
Yeah, I agree. I think that sometimes we give all of our power away to someone else because I think that we've been so ingrained into thinking about money, like the dollar bills, like you said. And I think that especially for us creatives, we either don't want to charge or we charge too much, or there's this whole thing around pricing. What do I price it? What if no one buys it? What if somebody does? Mm-hmm. And that most of the time, 9 times out of 10, as we've investigated through this process with people that we've worked with, it almost always goes back to money, whether it's one way or the other. Rejection, right. Or what if it grows too big and I can't handle it? Mm-hmm. And it changes me into something or someone that I don't want to be. It all goes back to like our money mindset, and we've tied our creative element into dollar bills. And unfortunately, most of us have tied dollar right. bills into our worth and value.
Right. If we take it back to like before we turned 7, and we were creating and making. We never had money. Actually, typically, small children have no reference of money right. at all. That's why if you watch 2 little kids today, they're barter. They barter like, hey, I have a red pen and you have 2 black pens. Like I would like a black pen. I don't need my red one anymore, and you said you needed red, so why don't we trade? And that's as far as their minds get to right. that system. And so you have to go back to the idea of like some of the best creativity and most of the out of the mind things that you can make come from that place of not worrying about money.
Right. Yeah. And I think like that's the number one thing that I think we can, when we are in this state of the fear of selling it, or we find we're not listing our things for sale, or we're turning people down that want to buy whatever it is that we have. I think that we are so into our creative element when we're creating it that people feel that and they see that and it's good. Just like when we were kids, like it's good. But then we cross over to the line into our adult mind that has been so programmed, and we start, backtracking and tying it to money.
Right.
So when we do that, I think one of the solutions that I have found that has worked is to just stop and recognize, like, wait a minute, that person just wanted me to sell this, wanted me to make them, like, whatever, and I was like, oh, thanks, but I'm just really busy, and something inside of me really would have wanted to do that. There's just some kind of fear that,
Right.
I didn't do it from. So if you have canvases stacked around and you're running out of space and you are telling somebody, like, I'm going to have to stop creating because I don't have any more space. Well, maybe actually you should start thinking, I'm going to have to start selling some of this because I need some more space to create more. So recognize, oh, wait a minute, why am I not listing it for sale? Oh, wait a minute, why would I say I need to stop creating? I love creating.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I not just sell it?
And there's also a part of, because you won't list it, you are limiting your next creative step.
Right.
Because you have a loose end that hasn't, like, been finished. Like, if you have a done piece of artwork or a product or whatever it is, maybe you even have a digital product or, whatever, or maybe, think about dinner for a second. Let's just do this in the realm of food, because we all eat. If you cook dinner, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you pull everything, like everything's on the stove, you got the grilled chicken in the skillet, you got the mac and cheese in the oven, you got the corn in the bowl.
Right.
Now, fear of rejection mindset would say, turn the burners off, leave it all on the stove in the microwave, and go about your day.
Right.
Right?
Just leave it here. Like,
and
don't even present it.
And how are you left? Why are you cooking in the first place?
Right, you wasted your time. Like, you got nothing out of it. When you go back to cook, you're going to do the same thing. You're never going to actually grow to feeding someone.
And the whole reason why you cook in the first place is you're hungry.
Right.
I'm hungry. I'm going to cook something.
Right.
Well, you didn't eat. You didn't finish. So what is posting it? What is listing it? It's getting the plate and serving it up.
Right.
And that's what you do. Imagine a place in your heart where you serve other people. If you were at a homeless shelter and you were serving food on plates, it would bring you such great joy, and there's no money involved. Your art and your craft is the exact same way. You need to serve it. You need to put it out there. You need to get it listed and let the people who want or need have it.
Right, absolutely.
And then you get that joy of, like, it's not like, oh, I'm a wonderful artist because I sold something, or, oh, it sold, now I have to do something else. No, the joy that you get is...
It's like you wrapped the gift, right,
Mm-hmm.
at Christmas. Like, you went and bought the gift and everything, and then you wrapped it and you put it in a really pretty bow and you sealed it up.
But someone has something.
Right, yeah.
Like, when you go to the store and you buy a new candle, like, you're not expecting the candle maker to be like, oh my God, if they don't buy this candle, I'm broke. I'm done. I'm done for. That candle is where my life lives. No, they bought the candle because I love lilac. Lilac's a great smell. I've been looking for a lilac candle. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy that I have a lilac candle. That's their joy that they have, and you get the joy of knowing that you were able to give someone something that they were looking for.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and I think, like, that's something, one of the steps when you recognize, wait a minute, like, let me, like, look at this here. Why is it building up? Why did I turn that away? Whatever. The second step is to assess the why, right? So we recognize what we did.
Which is step one.
Right. And then step two is
you notice, you recognize, like, whoa, why am I thinking this way? Why am I having second doubts?
Right. Yeah. And then step two is to assess, like we said, like, look into why. Why did I just tell them I'm going to have to stop creating? Like, why? Like, what? Why?
Right.
Like, assess it and dig into it. Like, why did I steal this painting, all these paintings, and I have them just sitting here, but I never actually have put them out onto the market? Why? Like, why? Like, what would happen if I did? Like, what would happen if, and just play with it and pursue that why. Just keep asking the why until you get to the bottom.
Janice had a mindset problem. So we talked about, our person that we were helping. She had the fear of rejection.
Right.
And that was a mindset thing.
Correct.
But she also had something else that she was using as an excuse to cover up her mindset problem. And that was the technicals of where and how do I list it?
Right.
What should the description say? How should I stage it? And she essentially, to kind of be nice, and this is going to be blunt though, it's excuses. Because it's all figure outable. There are YouTube videos, there are blogs, there is free information about your lighting, about walls for the background, how to make an Etsy listing.
Hey, and you know what? Like, when we first started, we didn't do it perfect.
No.
We didn't do it right. And actually, as we proceeded, throughout, time and experience and working with everybody, newsflash, there really isn't actually a right. There really is not a right way. Try Etsy. Try, get in there and play around with it. Mm-hmm. There's so many different places. Put it on Marketplace. Go to a craft show. Just try it. Just have fun and just try it. Right. And don't expect yourself to do it perfect or the right way.
And you can make it fun. You really can. So if you have 10 items that you need to list, don't take the same picture for all 10 items. Switch it up a little bit.
Right. Get creative.
Get creative in how you're doing your pictures. Get creative in your descriptions.
Right.
Get creative with the prices. Just put a price. Don't judge is it too much? Is it too less? Put a price on it. What do you feel? What was the first number that came to your mind? There you go. Is that more? Are you going to make a profit? List it.
Right.
And what will happen is as you begin to list things and you see things moving, you're going to start going, okay, this is moving. This is not moving. Why don't I change the description I use on the things that did move, and I'll go put it on these, and then if these move, then it was my description.
Right.
And then at that point, wow, I have a solid description. Now you're at a point I got such a solid description for my products, I could literally sell you my description template because it works.
Right.
Right?
And you discovered all this from not sitting in the place of making excuses that you don't know the right way or the best way or all the ways or how to. Right. You just started playing, which is what we do as creatives. We play in the paint. Right. We play in the art. We play in the the imagination. That's what we do. We play, but then when it comes to the business side of it, we want to start thinking that you can't play. And newsflash, it's best if you do play. It works better if you do play. If you experiment and you just have fun and you get creative in the business side of it, you're gonna excel just like you do in your art, because that's what success is. Success is just getting creative and playing and having fun, whether it's playing in the paint or your marketing or whatever. You can still be creative in both. And I think a lot of times we just let fear override us, and then we just settle back and get comfortable in excuses, which you're right, is exactly they're excuses.
They really are.
Right.
And you need it. And that's part of step one, is recognizing, is this an excuse? Am I using this as a reason to not grow myself? Why would I do that?
Right.
Why would I not want to sell my things?
Right.
And then address those questions. Address your own mindset, because we all have negative mindsets.
Right.
And if you're going into something new, you have that honeymoon stage of oh, this is fun. I love this. Oh, this is great. This is a great new hobby I have. But as you get going and you excel in it, you're going to get to a place where I can't hold on to all this. I have to make money. And so when you get to that place of I don't know, should I list it? Are they good enough? No, just list it. Because here's the thing. If you list it and it doesn't sell, it's in the exact same place it is if you don't list it.
Correct. Or if you're giving it away for free and everyone's loving it and you just keep doing it for free, assess why you're doing that. Look at that and ask yourself, why am I not charging people for this?
This reminds me of we had a lady, this just hit me right now. When we had our brick and mortar art studio, I think she was a veterinarian. I'm pretty sure she was. And these paint pours, so the acrylic paint pours and whatnot. And she had called us and she was like, hey, if I bring like 16 little canvases and all these supplies, can I pay you guys to rent your space to make a mess? That's essentially all she did. She goes, look, I'm going to make a god-awful mess, and I'm not doing that in my nice home.
Right.
But can I rent your space? And we were like, heck yeah. Like, how about this much money? Yeah, sounds good. On this night, yep, I'll be there. And she did. And we stayed and we just painted and we created. And she sat there and she made all these acrylic pours. And we were like, what are you making these for? Are you selling them? Because we were like, this is awesome. This lady's like, I'm renting a space to sell these things. She was, oh no, Christmas is coming. I'm going to give all these away. And we were like, these are really good. These look really good. They're super legit.
Right.
And we were like, you just need to put like a glossy epoxy and then like, bam.
Right.
Like, you're an Etsy maker.
And we had people coming in asking, it was really popular. And people would have bought it right then and there. She's giving it away for free to everybody.
People were oh my gosh. It might be like, so a lot of times like we'll have people, they'll design something on a piece of furniture and then we'll do the refinishing for it. And then or we design something for a customer. It goes both ways. But someone gets creative in designing a piece of furniture. And then it's done. And sometimes it has to sit there because like where we live, we have what's called snowbirds. And so people will like come here in Florida and then they'll leave for like 2 months. And then they come back. And so whenever they come, they'll leave, and we're like, oh, we have to hold on to this piece. And not do we only have to hold on to it, we have to fight people off.
Right.
People come in our shop like, oh, how much is that? Oh, that's not for sale. It's not for sale. No, it's actually a customer's piece.
Right.
And it's like, people look at us like, well, just sell it. Like, well, I just can't remake it.
Right.
Like, it's a 1970s dresser. They don't exactly find one.
Right.
And it's just, but that's the thing is, when people see the uniqueness of something, which can only come from within your heart, from within your own gift that you've been given, that you create something of unique.
Right.
And so when you do that, you're not an imposter. You're doing you. You're living.
Right.
Don't let the fear of rejection stop you from making the money.
No.
Or let's take it to a better way. I'm going to say this better. Don't let the fear of rejection keep you from allowing someone else to have joy with your art.
Right.
Don't do that.
Absolutely.
That's not the whole reason why you have the gift.
Right.
You have the gift for purpose.
And don't let the fear of putting a dollar sign on something make you feel like you're going to be greedy or a bad person or money hungry or rude or selfish or any of those things. Like, it's really not about money, and it really isn't about any of those things that we want to make it be about. So remember, we have been given these talents and these gifts for a reason. We didn't just wake up with, I think I'm going to pick up in like creativity and put a little bit of that inside me because I feel like that might be fun. No, we were actually given the gift of creativity. We were given the gift to paint our own unique canvas, the way we paint it, our own portraits, the way we paint them, the furniture, how we paint them, write the book with our imagination. We were given that as a gift, and that is our purpose, and we can't just rob ourselves or someone else from that. And we can't, keep trying to shove it in a box and hide it and make excuses for it and not allow that to live into the potential that it has. And a lot of times I think that, we feel like we're going to be bad people or greedy or selfish or viewed as, whatever it is. But, if you really stop and you think about it, I don't think that anybody would say, you know what, I'm giving you this gift, this talent, this thing, and I want you to use it, but please don't make $1 off of it. Please don't make a dime off of it. In fact, I'm not sure that I have ever heard anywhere, in the Bible or anywhere where it says, don't charge, don't make any money, don't.
It actually would be the opposite. So, like, technically the Bible would teach which establishes a different type of fear I'm going to take up with, but it's the fear on the opposite end of the spectrum. But if there was a landowner that had money and he gave his 3 servants money, right? And 2 of them then took the money, and money in this essence is a gift, right? So landowner would be God, the people working on the land would be us with our gifts. So 3 people were given a gift, and 2 of them invested it, and they quadrupled their gift, right?
Right.
They used it for purpose.
Right.
The one did not. He buried it. Buried his gift, and when the landowner came back, he was asked, what did you do with yours? And he said, oh, I buried it because I had a fear of losing it.
Or I just needed to hide it.
And that, in an essence, is not okay. And when you have this fear, whether it's imposter or rejection, you're essentially burying your gift. You're not trying to invest that for purpose.
Right.
And so that brings me to this other fear. You should have a fear of not using it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because what if it's taken away because you don't use it? Because if you don't do something with it, he'll have to use someone else because you are burying what's supposed to be invested into other people.
Right. And like our story with Janice back in the beginning, she had all this artwork that she was hiding. That, essentially she was hiding in the confines of a box of her house because of fear. But in her life, she was, needing extra cash. Mm-hmm. Like, she was needing extra cash. And I can't help but just think, like, you were given a gift and a talent. And you spent your time pursuing that.
Right.
And what if that is actually the answer to your problem of needing extra cash? What if that is actually the thing that is here to help you? The thing that is here to help you pay that bill, to help you get out of that job, whatever it is. What if that's actually the thing and you just keep shoving it in the closet because of your own fear? And then you just stay stagnant, sitting where you are, kind of in misery or with the problem or whatever, because you won't allow the gift that was given to you to help you find joy and happiness and fix whatever issue it is that's causing you discontent to actually do its job.
Right. And, a lot of people will say things like, well, there's ITSE fees. Some people will use money as an excuse, like, well, I can't afford to spend money to get it listed in certain places and with the ITSE fees, which, I get it. That's a fear in itself. But you have to overcome that because when you have to spend some money on something, you're putting your skin in the game, is what they call it. And when you do that, you're more committed and you're more devoted. And there's a couple of ways you can do this. One, you can find, e-commerce platforms, third-party platforms like ITSE, and you can post your stuff there. And then another thing is maybe you have a local consignment shop or like a vendor booth place. You can get a booth, $250 for 1 month, fill it with all your stuff. And if nothing sells, you're going to pull all your stuff out and you're only out $250. But what you did is, and by the way, it's probably not going to happen. You're going to be like, I actually sold some. They called me and said, we need you to come refill your booth. And you're like, oh no, I need to get to work. That's a good problem to have. But the whole thing is like, once you invest into your growth, you have committed yourself into something and you've leveled up.
Right. Yeah, I think as creatives, it's really easy for us to do the thing we enjoy, the part that we like. And then I think that we don't really necessarily put the full commitment into growing it, to finishing it, to to giving it life, like to growing it up, like like a kid, like let it be its potential. I don't think it's easy to just produce because that's a talent that we have. That's something that comes easier, and then we just don't commit to the other side of making it shine.
Right.
Yeah. So to recap, we can keep going through all kinds of different scenarios and situations because honestly, we all struggle with this. In the beginning, in the middle, in the end, like it's something that just always comes up. So when we're feeling like, we have these excuses or these situations or whatever that comes up, stop and like recognize what something's going on here. Like I think something might be going on here. And then ask like, what it is, like why am I doing that? Travel that why road a little bit until you figure out, you know what, I think I'm afraid to ask for money for this. And then, travel that why am I afraid of money? Like money is a tool and it's just a piece of paper with $1 bill. And if I put this canvas on there for $200 or $100 or $50 or, whatever, and everyone else has theirs for $2,000, why am I so worried about, like, whatever it is that I'm doing? Travel that why road. And then remember, like, you have this gift. You were given this for a reason. Like, use it. Yeah. Let it be. And don't put the power in the money, in the dollar bills, in the excuses, in the reasons why, you can't or
right.
You don't know, or let it shine. Right. Let it serve its purpose.
Right. So that's the 3 things. So recognize, step 1. 2, assess and identify the why. That's 2. And then 3, remember your gift and purpose.
So from here, pause or get your piece of paper. We're about over, like with the podcast. So don't just let this be something that just goes to the wayside. Get a piece of paper and a pen, or just really stop and get in a quiet place and really answer those. Like really look at your creative whatever you do, whatever it is, and really investigate that and follow through with that, because the ultimate goal here is to get out there and get it out there,
right,
and have fun and get creative with it. So actually do some work. Like don't just let this go to the wayside.
And if you once you do your work, or maybe you're already in a place like, no, like I completely understand what keeps me and what stops me. If price or the worth of things or the worth of yourself happens to be one of those things that kind of gets in your way, if you begin to assess and identify that, like, well, I just don't know how much is this worth, how much is my abilities and my skill worth, I want to recommend go and listen to episode number 6 that we made, where we talk about that. And that will kind of help you kind of bring to yourself and to your mind what it is, why you might be thinking that way, and also kind of help you get out of that mindset so that you just realize, you know what, it's just a price on an item. And if I'm just starting out and I sell it for blank, and then I get going and I get more experience, my price is probably going to go up as I get experience. And that's a natural thing for anyone. As you get better and more experience, you'll just increase your price.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, just start playing. Just have fun. Just get out there and do what feels comfortable. Well, when I say comfortable, I'm not meaning without fear. Just try something. Just have fun and play with it and be comfortable playing. And actually let it happen. Like, just let it happen.
Right. And it can be fun. Like, it can be fun to go to the arts and crafts place and buy the things that you need. It can be fun to sit and put on some music and just create from a place within your heart whether it's eyes open or eyes closed. And you know what? It can be just as much fun to take the pictures, write a little description about how wonderful this item is and how much you really enjoyed creating and making it from a place of joy, and that you know that it's going to bring joy to someone else.
Right.
And have fun listing your pieces, and know that if it doesn't sell, it's not because something's wrong with it or wrong with you. It just needs to keep being played with and molded until it does sell.
Right. Even though we as creatives pour a little bit of ourself into what it is that we're creating, our worth is actually not dependent on any of those things. We're just sharing a little bit of us with that piece. But our worth actually stays inside of us. Like, we are worthy whether somebody doesn't like it or does. And what we create is good. Because if we think it's good and we're happy with that, that is what matters. Because that's why we are creatives. That's why we create. That's why we play. That's why we have fun.
Right. So, for this, if you have not subscribed to us, make sure you do so. You can also go to any of our 3 businesses' social medias, Layers of Grace Designs, Let's Create Art, or Business Building Mentors, and you can follow us there, and you can also DM us if you have a question. We would also love if you left us a review, and in that review, tell us why. What is your why of how this kind of helps you overcome something? All right, well, until next week, or if you're listening to this years down the road, we'll meet back up in the next episode.
Well, hey, creative friends, we hope you enjoyed today's episode and you go take action in your business.
If you really enjoyed this episode, we hope that you definitely subscribe to us. And if you know some creative friends out there, go ahead and share to them. For next time, we'll be here, same time, same place.